Hey guys, this is Al from Let's Get It podcast. Today we're here in beautiful Oceanside. I got some good news and I got some bad news. The good news that we're in Oceanside, we're going to meet with these great entrepreneurs. But before we get to that, the bad news is that I wanted to film in front of the Top Gun house. Unfortunately, the Top Gun house is gone. It's no longer there. I'm going to show you some footage as far as what took over the space. So anyway, shouts out to Tom Cruise and the crew. But anyway, aside from that, we're going to meet with two entrepreneurs. We're talking kombucha today and we're talking pottery today. Super cool individuals, self-startup. They've been in business way more than 8 years. So we're going to meet with them in a few minutes. So until then, you guys, let's get it. How you guys doing? I'm Al Gordon with Let's Get It podcast. Before we get started here, I want Josh to talk about the beverages that I'm going to completely devour today. While he's talking, I'm going to drink all of these. So before we get started, Josh, just tell me what I have in front of me and then we'll do the intro.
All right, sounds good. So this is kombucha, and it's been all the rave for the past 3 or 4 years really. We've been doing it. My business partner Neil Gerke's been doing it for 12 years. And as a company, we've been around for 5. So we've been at the very beginning when we were just making it, in our own little space and trying to, turn it into this idea and company. And here we are. We got 30 different flavors of them. It's a fermented tea. It's a non-alcoholic beverage, contrary to what most people think. But it's basically just a healthy, probiotic, enzyme-rich, living food that when you consume, you feel better, you feel bubbly, and it kind of, gets the day started off without maybe, a big brash of caffeine or anything like that. It's like a natural energy drink if you think of it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this one is the...
So we got four of my favorite right here. We have what we call our cucumber mojito. It's got a little bit of mint in there. We have our ginger spice, which is probably one of our most popular ones. We just did a watermelon because watermelon's going off this past month. The watermelon's insane. And then we have a purple carrot. So it kind of showing the versatility to where you don't have to just use fruits. You can use vegetables. You can get really funky with it and have some fun.
We're here in Oceanside from LA, and all I could think about with the drive down, I'm like, it's gonna be hot today. I want something nice and cool and refreshing. I don't want a crash from the sugar, whether it's a Snap or whatever beverage you drink, and you come down from the crash and you feel dizzy. And all I could think about is like, okay, I got to drink this nice and cold, a nice hot day. We're gonna talk about this some more. I really want to touch on the beginning as far as you're in high school, you're a senior. What are your prospects as far as working, getting a job, business ownership? What's your thought process there?
Man, it's almost like night and day, because when I was a senior in high school, I was just trying to be a football player and trying to get a scholarship, and that kind of gave me the first step into entrepreneurship in a way, because when you're trying to turn something from high school and turn it into a college, almost like a business in a way at that point, you really got to think about yourself and like how you're going to make that step and how you're going to, kind of do what 90 whatever percent of people couldn't do.
Right.
And so my mindset was just 100% focused on, working out, getting bigger, getting stronger, getting faster, and really just dedicating all that time to myself so that I could get a scholarship and go play football. And that actually got me all the way to New York City. And I got to play college football at Hofstra University. Was on the offensive line. I was about 300 and something pounds. I was a big kid pushing kids around. I was in a whole nother mindset. Kind of shows how the human species can just transform and change, because today I'm in a band, I brew kombucha, and I'm, a smile on my face. But back then I was pushing people around and upset and pissed off at the world kind of thing, and just trying to get mine, So it's been a wonderful experience. But I think every step, when you become an entrepreneur, you become, a business owner or somebody that, is trying to do not the norm in a way. You have to see every step along the way as just a nudge, no matter if it's good or bad. It's something that's putting you and preparing you for the future. No matter how bad it can get, no matter how great it gets, you have to take it as a lesson and just keep moving and just keep going, one foot in front of the next.
So with that,
Yeah.
not too many people have a support system.
Yeah.
You're playing college ball, and this was out of state. Was it in California or out of state?
So I'm from Kansas originally.
Oh, Kansas. So you get that good steak.
I forgot to dump that in.
Hey,
I went from Kansas, New York, now I'm in California.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said Kansas, New York, then California.
Yeah.
So you're in Kansas, okay. Out there, cow tipping, doing all that good stuff. There's some great steaks out there.
Yeah, great beef. Yeah.
No joke.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being
barbecue,
I'm
man.
being
We're
dead
the
serious.
Kansas City barbecue.
Dead serious.
We take it
I was
for
in
real.
Tulsa and I had some steak from. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was 300 pounds.
And having heart issues, but anyway, that's a different story. So it's in New York.
Yeah.
What was the deciding factor to come out to California?
Talking about support, my older brother was out here. My uncle had been here for about 20 years at that point. So what was happening was, I was in New York, and it was like one of those decisions I made to step completely out from my support group and go into a city that I don't know anybody. I have no family there. I have nothing, And that experience kind of got me wanting to get back into family, but I didn't want to move back to Kansas.
Right.
And my parents were in Iowa at the time, so I didn't want to go to Iowa. My older brother was in California, and so I'd go out, we'd get like 2 to 3 weeks off every year from football when we're not working out or preparing for something. And I'd come to California and visit it out here, and I'm like, man, if I can make enough money to make this work, I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to leave. And when I graduated college, I came out just for that 3-month summertime, and I'm still here.
So when you said make it work, you mean like enough to pay rent,
yeah,
crash
like
on the couch, or
I mean,
enough to start something?
Well, in a way, it's like, you don't really know what you're getting into at that age.
Right.
I still don't know what I'm getting into, and
Right.
there are times where you can only afford to pay your rent. Like, it's not always a great economy. There's, kombucha's not always the hot thing, or whatever you're getting into. And so it's good to kind of diversify, surround yourself with good people, and create more of that community kind of just support versus like a business that's trying to make money.
Okay.
So obviously, we do well enough to stay here on the beach and to live here and to have this lifestyle, but we got to pay for it now, man. I mean, it's insane,
Yeah.
But
So you move out, you're on your brother's couch or family member's couch,
yeah,
which a lot of people,
Yeah.
whether they're doing it in their 40s and
Yeah.
30s, whatever, you could have done anything.
yeah.
I mean, you still had the athletic connect, you had your degree connect, you could have done pretty much anything you wanted. What was a deciding factor on you woke up one day and said, you know what, this?
Yeah, and honestly, there's really not a specific moment to like a product or to this, kombucha specifically. It was more of me accepting a way of life, a new change. I don't want to be in a desk. I don't want to, and I hear this from people all the time. I don't want to work at a desk. I don't want to work for someone. I want to be my own boss. I want to do these things. And so it was that mentality shift that really changed things for me. One of the reasons why I came out here to California too is I've been playing music since I was 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And football is what paid me to get to college and get my education, and that was a big deal, for me and my family and stuff. So when I was finally free of that, I was like, music is really what's inside of me, and I don't care what I have to do. If I got to be poor, if I got to be on the streets, if I got to whatever, that's what I want to focus on. And it was that commitment to myself and what I knew I needed to have a happy life or to have a successful life that didn't have anything to do with money or materials or anything like that.
Right.
It was more that kind of like vibration you want to be a part of or something. That then led me into kombucha, because what I basically did is I tasted the corporate life for a minute.
Right.
And I was like, no, this isn't for me. So I moved out on the streets, man. I was living in an RV for 3 months, waiting tables at a vegan joint down the street.
Jeez.
And that's when I found kombucha. And when I found kombucha, this was before anybody knew what it was. Again, my partner Neil, he brought it to us. We got him off of Craigslist. It was just the craziest happening. And he'd been brewing it for like 5 or 6 years. He had these, videos up on YouTube and all this craziness, and we just vibed really well. He's a really amazing person, and he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he was making this amazing brew that I never had before. And I just could see, it's almost like the first time I drank it, it wasn't just like what most people feel, where it's like, I like this, I want more of this, in my body, it makes me feel good. It was like, this is an opportunity, this is something you pray for, you know what I mean? Where you're like, man, I'm on this couch, I'm on the streets, I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I got a college education, I'm I'm making this commitment to who I know I want to be, but do I really want to be that person? Like, is this really how it's going to be? And so I saw it as an opportunity, and we're like, all right, man, here we go, let's make a business out of it. And so we started in a kitchen. We rented time. We traded product for it for 3 years. And then we finally found this old real estate office that we're sitting in here today. And another reason why, Neil was a great person for us is because he's a general contractor. So,
he can do a lot of work.
Creating partnerships with people who not only are good people or have a good head on their shoulders, but can add to that business. He can come in and do work for nothing compared to what you would hire someone for. And so we completely remodeled this place, man. Now we have 3 food grade facilities, that we've all done ourselves. We don't hire out anything. And we have now this beautiful tap room here, warehouses, distribution, refrigerated trucks, and we've just literally taken everything that we've made and invested it back into the kombucha, because we believe in it, And once you believe in something, you just gotta go, no matter how it is,
It's never the right timing.
Never.
Never the right
Still
timing.
Isn't, But yeah, I mean.
So how did you? You sit down with Keith, right?
With Neil.
You sit down with Neil, and you decide, okay, you got the brewing process. I'm gonna bring, my expertise of people person, business skills, et cetera, et cetera. But what people don't realize is that you're working a whole lot of different things at the same time.
Oh yeah.
It's not just as simple as a meeting, but you're spending a lot of different places at one meeting. Meaning you're driving around an area looking for a space. You're
checking
thinking
your
about
accounts. You're doing credit card charges, following up on it's just, there's so many more layers to business that you just don't even think about. So when you have that first aha moment of like, I want to sell this, and I know people will buy it, and I feel good, and this is a good thing, we're create a great community out of it. There's like 1,000 other things that have to happen at the same time or in a succession that you don't even think of.
And the trust issue, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
that trust game, that's a fundamental. If you don't trust the person from the get-go, you don't have anything at all.
Totally, and I think a lot of it comes from the inside too. So first you got to trust yourself. That's my perspective. If I don't trust me all the way, then how can I trust someone all the way? And if I don't trust myself all the way, which most of the time I don't, then I got to give somebody a little freedom. Maybe not hold them to like, you SOB, how dare you kind of thing, and give them some grace and work through things. I mean, the longer you're in something, the more bad mistakes you're going to make, and your partners are going to make, and your employees are going to make. And if you don't have protocols to not only like take care of it, make sure it doesn't happen again, but also to like give them some love at the same time, plus you got to kind of feel people out too. If they're doing it intentionally or something like that, it's a whole nother game, So, we try to stay away from that as much as possible, but it's life, man. You can't control people,
You can't, but I think sometimes there's certain energy that you put out, you get out meaning. I can't tell you how many times I've met owners and they act a certain way, but they don't expect their employees to act a certain way. But I'm like, it comes from the top down.
No,
it makes no sense to me at all. But if you do me wrong, it's because you're doing me wrong. No one here in this establishment has ill will for you. So that's something that you got to deal with, and you got to take it to the next spot.
Sure. Yeah, and most kitchens have 20 people that they're having to work with. And
constant.
If not more, if you're talking front of house. I mean, restaurants are insane, man. I mean, we deal. We have like 100 restaurants that we work with, so I get to see it from like a very detached perspective. And I'm like, damn.
As a restaurant, a resort, a hotel. you would technically meet with the food and beverage director and say, this is who I am, this is what we provide.
Typically the decision maker, whatever facet that person has, if they are the manager, the beverage director, if they're the owner, sometimes, we like to work with or what I like to do and what has been kind of our success is I like to source the independent, smaller, real places, instead of going, a lot of our competition goes top down in a way. They'll go hit up, the corporate offices, or they'll hit up the restaurant groups or the chains and stuff like that. It's kind of crazy for me to even think right now. Every chain restaurant that we have, we started with them on one place, and they've now gone to 15 or whatever in like a 3-year period.
Wow.
So we grow, they grow, and then you're like, wow, this is a whole nother way of seeing it. We really haven't had too many accounts where we've just walked into 30 locations or anything like that. There hasn't been a single one. So it's all been like, one place that is a great concept. It's kind of moving on this new organic, gluten-free, healthy, all these things that people are starting to invest in more and more. And now those places are doubling and tripling and quadrupling and creating different locations in San Diego. Then you got Orange County, not too far away. You got LA. So, these concepts and movements are moving.
You meet them through relationships.
Exactly. 100%.
And I think a lot of times people miss that gap as far as the relationship is what make it happen. You could introduce people all day long. If there's no relationship there, I mean a solid relationship, meaning I know this guy, he's down the street, he knows where I'm at. It's not like I put up an ad on Facebook and he approached me because it was a friend of a friend, which it happens every now and then.
Sometimes,
but I just feel knowing that person, that one third person that connects you per se, almost like having that reference person. Meaning like you send someone over to me to get hired, I'm not holding them accountable. I'm holding you accountable because I know you. I don't know them. They want to work, but I know you.
And when it
so
comes
when
to
they mess up,
selling a product, especially, there's many people, and I totally believe this, that would say that you're not buying the product, you're buying the person that's there representing the product. Especially in the world of kombucha today, where we have like a dozen local kombuchas now. We were the only guys for like 2 years. So now I'm walking in and they've already probably spoken with someone before. They've tried it. It's all good stuff. These guys they're doing good kombucha. It's not a bad product or whatever. But if they don't vibe with that person, they're not going to buy it. And just because they didn't buy it from that person doesn't mean they don't like kombucha. Because it's really more, and they may think that, they may say that, I don't like kombucha, I've never had it before, or I've had it before, I didn't like it, or somebody's asked me about kombucha before, I'm not interested or whatever. But if there's a way you can create that relationship and get the person just, to like you, doesn't matter what you're selling, they're going to buy it, you know? And it's amazing to see that happen on many different levels in my life, at least, so.
Wow, this is some good stuff. That cucumber and ginger. I came here, did a tasting a few months ago. And we came in, and we asked the woman at the counter if we can do a tasting, because I didn't want to buy one flavor and not like it. And she's like, we do tastings. And I'm like, a tasting, like tasting? She's like, yeah. I'm like, cool, let's do it. And she just went to the tap, try this. And I was like, man, that's just, and I said, I was drawn. Yeah, it is. It really is. Because I tried them in the past, and it's like, usually a friend of mine is either brewing it as a hobby, or you go to the store and get it.
Maybe the chef's doing it somewhere in the kitchen or something.
But it's not, it tastes like, am I going to get sick from this? It's that suspect kind of taste. You're like, totally. I mean, I don't want to talk down to you, but I trust you, but I don't trust that. At least the process of that. So when I tried this, it was so nice. I was just like, okay. It's a whole different level.
It's not a gnarly process, but you got to realize that you're dealing with a living beverage. So anything can get in there and taint it really fast. So a good example of like home brewing versus what we're doing, at this point I gave up on home brewing my own kombucha, because it's just there's too many variables. There's too much of the temperature has to be right. This has to be right. The smallest thing can go wrong, and just mess up a 3 or 5 gallon batch or something like that. And now it's like we've created a facility that's temperature controlled, that's a clean facility that has the filtered water ready to go. It has, the scobies, healthy, it's good. It's all monitored and tracked. So it's like, I'm like, I don't need to do this at my house anymore.
Right.
But it was funny in the very beginning. I'm like, well, I'm a kombucha guy. I got it brewed at my house. Like this. And I did it, and I just messed up a couple batches and got mold on one. I'm just like, this is not a good idea.
But how do you know it's messed up?
Well, I mean, there's telltale signs. So if you ever have fuzzies on anything, that in the food world. If anything's growing little hairs, that's not good. So, and that can happen with the kombucha because you do have an open top fermenter. So, this isn't beer. You're not using a closed top clean thing. It's an open top breathing creature in a way. It's a living thing. So if there's one little spore on that cloth that goes over the top, if it wasn't cleaned properly, if it wasn't stored properly, bam, game off, and you'll see it, start to grow on the top. Wow. And you'll see, inconsistencies. There's now, the difference between, especially now with the hard kombucha movement or the high alcohol kombucha movement, there's knowledge now with the whole yeast versus bacteria debate as well, because sometimes in the summertime when we were first starting, we'd see all this like brown stuff that would grow in these batches. We wouldn't sell them, we'd just dump them, but what we didn't realize is that's a yeast bloom. And so the yeast is now taking over. And live yeast is not something you necessarily want to put in your body. It's not going to hurt you or anything like that, but that's what people are doing right now with hard kombucha. They're drinking live yeast, and it's taking over the bacteria and that equilibrium that you're looking for. And that's why we brew at really low temperatures, the lowest temperatures that we can brew without stopping that fermentation. And that allows the bacteria to do more and to kind of take over the batch versus the yeast to then in higher heat where the bacteria kind of doesn't work and dies off and stuff like that, then the yeast will take over and you'll create basically beer. And it's higher alcohol, it tastes funky, it's not, I have yet to find a hard kombucha that I taste and I'm just like, I could drink this all day. I just, for a party it's one thing, but like something that you're going to consume every day, like most of the time they don't taste that great. Right. Or they taste hollow, or they taste kind of funky or off, or they have a weird smell to it. And that's all that yeast taking over, killing the bacteria.
Oh, okay.
And creating more of an alcoholic beverage, which is what they're going for.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I think these are beautiful. They taste good. I've never been I didn't grow up with kombucha, not even in restaurants, high-end restaurants that I worked at. I don't think it was popping back then in 2000.
Yeah.
So
it's
fairly new.
Yeah.
It's fairly new.
Totally.
So why Oceanside, of all places? You have all these beautiful beach cities on the coast.
Yeah.
You have downtown San Diego. You have downtown LA, which is metropolitan cities. You lived here, but is there any particular reason?
I didn't move here. I moved to Carlsbad first. I went down to Encinitas for a while. And Oceanside was always that place that everybody would just talk trash on. They're like, yeah, you don't want to go up there. I think like the whole why Oceanside answer is everybody's answer to it. It's the minute you get here, you feel like you're in like this authentic place, that just like how did this not turn into Encinitas? How did this not turn into Huntington Beach? It's slowly getting closer to these beach, very high-end kind of cities. But when I first came out here, there was nothing but dirt lots everywhere, and it was very like, it felt like you're almost like in a vacation destination in another world or something, And then you add to the fact that you have a harbor, a beautiful harbor, located like walking distance if you want to. You got a pier. There's there's lagoons everywhere. There's amazing hiking east of here. Some of the best weather in the world is in Vista, which is basically the closest city next to Oceanside. And so it just like, to me, it turned into why not Oceanside, especially at the time that we were doing it, because there was really nothing for progressive people here. Right. It was all like burger shacks and taco huts and bars and alcohol and, people just getting drunk and just going and wilding out. And so we wanted to be the antidote to that, or at least give people another option, since this is a beach community. The beach brings all people, man. You're not going to just get, one type of person, but there was only a certain type of person that was being catered to. And so now you're seeing a revolution here in Oceanside where there's more and more like funky, new, like very progressive businesses that are opening that aren't offering the same thing as the next guy. And it's not just catering towards the Marines that come down on the weekends like it used to be. And so the whole area is just transforming.
No, it's a completely different city. It was challenging back in those days.
Oh, yeah.
And
totally.
I'm saying challenging in a very nice way. Challenging.
Challenging.
Yeah, now, I mean, they're building condos.
Oh, yeah, everything's brand new.
Everything's
Transit
new.
Center now has the train that comes, multiple trains that come from LA.
Yeah,
you can
have
take the Metrolink now.
Yeah, Metrolink.
$10.
Amtrak.
Yeah.
And the coaster.
Exactly.
To go to San Diego.
You can go anywhere. I mean, if you
It's
live,
a hub, almost.
If you're living coastal Oceanside, you can get anywhere you want with public transport. So for me, music has taken me throughout the world, and I've gotten to see Europe and places like that. And coming back, I'm like, wow, this is that sold it even more for me, because I'm like, this is now an opportunity to be in like a European American, beach town, which honestly, that's like the best of the best
And you
of the
have the train.
best. Yeah,
Right.
because you have that transport, you can get the train. And this was before Lyft and Uber. Now that's changed everything, right?
Of course.
But yeah, there's so much here, man. You can go, like we did this when we first moved out. You can go ski, up in Big Bear, and then go hit the surf in the evening. You can go out to the desert and hike around. You can go down to Mexico, one of my favorite places to go. You just cross that border. The culinary scene's insane, and the wine country's insane, and it's all super affordable. And if it looks like the way that Oceanside was maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago, or just this whole coastline, like old California,
Right.
That just
Right.
hasn't been developed yet. So
No, this is nice. It's relaxed.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
clean. It's efficient.
it's efficient.
It's
Yeah,
efficient.
it's a great way of putting it.
It's efficient.
Yeah, and it's one of the oldest cities too, so it's had the ability to kind of go through a lot of different phases. And it's just, since I've gotten here, I think 5 years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I felt like I was in the phase of this new world that's going to happen here, that's going to like really just liberate the city from this dark energy that used to be here. Like you said, it was
Right.
challenging, but
Right.
I think the easiest way to describe it is just there's a lot of bad people that were here.
Right.
And
Right.
they were able to stay here for however long, but now that phase is moved. I mean, it's gone at this point. You don't see
Yeah.
the same, there's no gang violence anymore on the beach like there used to be. You don't
Yeah,
see
the beach is super clean.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's nice.
Everything's
and-
nice. We're losing
Yeah.
our sand. That's the only bummer, but that's everybody. With these high tides that are coming in,
Oh, is
But,
that what it is?
Yeah, the whole coastline, But so there's still like some more work that Oceanside's going to have to do, but bringing in the businesses, bringing in the restaurants, bringing in the good people, and creating that community vibe is really what's going to spark everything.
How do you feel the networking between, like, there's a dance studio across the street,
Yeah.
there's a few different things around. How's the network as far as entrepreneurship, business owner to business owner talking,
Yeah.
and all that good stuff?
Now's the time for it. I mean, and you see the progression of any city. It always starts off with local people that are willing to take the risk, that are willing to put in the money,
Right.
that are willing to put in the time, the energy, and kind of give their life over for a number of years.
Right.
And then it's like something happens where the big guys come in that see the potential and they just start buying everybody out. So we're not in that phase yet. We are definitely in the phase, like every business that you see on this coast highway, I would say 95% of them are small owners, are real people that live in the area, that live, somewhere, even if it's like Encinitas or Carlsbad, that's really not that far away, and so I would still consider that somewhat of a local person. It's not people from Vegas coming and buying up.
Right.
It's not people necessarily from LA coming and buying up stuff. It's like people who that want to live here, that want this lifestyle and want to cater to more of like-minded people to experience it as well. And that's really what the phase that we're in here. So it's really cool to be able to like walk into the dance studio or walk into Bagby Beer over here, or any of these big restaurants who from afar you're like, this is a giant place, like there's no owner anywhere. He probably lives, on a golf course somewhere, but the owner's right there and he's brewing his own beer.
Right.
Or,
Right.
she's teaching the kids how to dance, or, down the street we got the Cup Coffee. It's the owners are there like almost every day. So it's really cool to have that interconnectivity.
That community neighborhood feel.
Exactly. Where almost everybody's, you know, a mayor in a way, you know, because they know
you're
each
the
other.
Mayor. I know, no, you're the mayor.
Yeah.
He's not the mayor, but he's a mayor, if you know what I mean. Like, he's a connect. Like, he knows.
Yeah.
He might seem calm and chill, no big deal, but he knows what's going on in the city. Like, he's that go-to guy. So this location is your retail space, but
this
then
is
you
where
have
we
a
started
space
everything.
This is where everything started.
You know, and that's, you know, any kind of you know, business you start, you never know where you're going to finish. And you know, as opportunities kind of fall, you're like, whoa, should we do this? Should we take that risk? Take this risk? We took a big risk this last year. We used to have everything under this one house right here. So the brewery was here. We were distributing to like 70 or 80 restaurants from this small, tiny location.
Wow.
You saw the little kitchen cafe-ish kind of thing back there. And that was everything. We were to the max. I mean, it was unsafe. It was to the max. And my older brother was our master brewer at the time, so he was one of the partners, and he was doing his thing. Just, you know, we were trucking kegs everywhere. We had off-site storage, all kinds of craziness. And then we got an opportunity to move into a food-grade facility that's about 2,000 square feet, and it has a sister suite next to it that's another 2,000 square feet, where we built out our walk-in coolers. And so now we have our whole manufacturing and distribution on a commercial property that we'll never have to worry about losing or anything like that, because we just rent this place here. So you know, whenever you're renting something, you're always like, maybe this could break our brand or something like that. So we finally took the step over there, and now we are kind of rethinking how we do in here. But we still have our customers that are coming in and filling up their growlers and getting their kombucha, and people that have supported us and kept us open since day one. It hasn't changed for them, but for us, now we have, you know, 3 locations that we're managing. And, you know, a whole new system, but it's so much more efficient. It's amazing. So
wow, congratulations.
Thank
man.
you.
That is I'm saying that from the bottom of my heart, because I know the sleepless nights, the balancing of the books, the wait off a week to pay them before they get paid, and sourcing your bottles, your glasses, your items, your tea, yes. So when growth happens, and it happened over a period of time.
Yeah, of course.
But to know when it's the right time for growth is the thing. I think people just want to blow up, especially these days. They just want it right now instead of taking their time. Start off small and just gradually just grind it out every day. Just take it easy.
Yeah, I mean, we are completely not the model. Like when it comes to what you would learn in school or what you would be told how you create a business. I mean, we had no money. We had no investor. The investors were us, and we were just working for free for 2 or 3 years, basically, to where we could build enough to have enough income to be able to then take those moves and grow into a new space. And we didn't take a loan for the new space. We didn't.
Oh wow.
We didn't take any outside money for any of that. You know, which is crazy to think, because most nowadays what I found, and maybe this is all over the place, but definitely in California, the model is you have this great idea, you spend sleepless nights putting together a proposal and a deck and all this, and you do all this fancy flashy stuff, and then you go find someone with money and get their money, or you go to a bank, you get the money, and then you start your concept. And so that model, from what I've seen, hasn't worked for anybody. I mean, I've really gotten to see friends do it. I've gotten to see other businesses do it, and it just creates so much turmoil. You know, you have a silent partner that owns a chunk.
They got you like this.
Yeah, he's got you like this, and there's no freedom, and they have all the say, you know, and it doesn't allow for any creativity. And if there's no creativity in a business, even if it sells and it makes millions of dollars, or it goes on to just not sell and just does, you're gonna be like, your soul's getting sucked out the whole time. And that's the reason why I got out from the desk, because I could just feel my energy was being put into something that was not serving me, it was serving someone else, you know. And that's not, most people want to invest in themselves nowadays, and the opportunity to do that is literally on everybody's doorstep. But they take the traditional approach of YouTubing what they got to do to do that, and then they fall into those pitfalls.
What would you tell someone you left the corporate lifestyle, let's say someone's there and they're like, man, Josh is going to go make it happen. And they want to do it too, but they're afraid.
Yeah.
What would you tell them, no matter what they're going to do, for them to make that step? Like, they're watching you. They don't really know what's inside your head. But if you had to tell them before you leave that corporate desk,
I would tell them they should be afraid. Because if you're really going to, if you want to have creative control, if you want to create a company or a product or whatever your idea is, and you want to see that thing be an extension of you, you got to be willing to risk everything. And when the time comes to where you have nothing left to risk, you got to risk more.
right?
It's crazy. I mean, honestly, I've told people this a million times. If I could have seen a crystal ball of what it would have taken to get to this seat right here, from when we first were, looking at kombucha 7 or 8 years ago, I wouldn't have done it back then. Today I would have done it, but back then I wasn't ready. There was no way I was ready for that.
Yeah.
But it's all, that's the progression. There's no shortcuts when you're doing it all yourself, and when you are the creative controller, or when you have a partnership or a group of people who all are creative people and they're all adding creativity.
Right.
Because again, back to that model of somebody giving you a chunk of money to make your dreams happen, they own what you're doing. Even if you have it in paperwork where they can't tell you what to do, like they will find,
what to do.
If they got that kind of money, they know lawyers and they know people that can, they've probably been up that track before and you haven't. So it's,
Do you think the hard work that it took for you playing football in the gym, your nutrition, the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people have never played sports.
Yeah.
And for you to get to a certain level, you got to put in work when you don't want to put in work.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
That gym isn't a nice soft pillow. You got to get in there. And I don't mean phone it in like, I'm lifting 10 pounds.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Because you got to go put it in and then go to practice and put it in again.
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm saying is that the foundation,
Definitely.
whether you believe, the foundation was there.
Yeah.
You just had to find some entity or some service or some product.
Exactly.
Say, you know what? It's not as hard as that. So why
not?
Not?
It was honestly, it was just a life progression in a way. Football, and even just my upbringing and my family structure and my parents just being always really supportive and having a tremendous amount of faith. All those things were like, you kick and scream your whole life about having to do those things. But then when you get in a seat like I'm in today, you're like, wow, that I can draw a direct connection to how that helped and how that's continuing to help me and continuing to like allow me to know that, hey man, like 12, 13-hour days it's been your norm your whole life. Why are you tripping? Like you had to go to school and do that for 8 hours and then go practice for 6. It's like it's something that like if you don't have that work ethic, it's just not going to happen. And at that point you need money. And I see that happen a lot of times where people just aren't cut out for the business. They had a good product, they had a good concept, they hit the market at the right time, right place, whatever. But they don't work at it, so they constantly just have infusions coming in every month because they're up and under, and it's not really, at that point it's confusing. And I totally get why people fall into the pitfalls, because if you're looking from the outside in, it's confusing. You don't realize that that's what's happening behind closed doors, is that it's just getting cash thrown at it, but you see this successful business, but you don't see the P&L.
Oh, right.
And that was a big deal for me too. Like walking into a local business and being like, man, you must have it all. Like you're probably making all kinds of money, like thousands of dollars every day. Restaurant pulling in 20 grand on a weekend, but you don't see the 10, 20, $30,000 rent they got to pay, or the payroll, or the taxes. And it's not until you get on the other side of the coin that you're like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like
literally.
I want that steady paycheck,
Yeah. It's less stress.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks, your check is there.
Yeah. It's a different kind of stress, because you're stressing on what you're not doing. And for me, it wasn't an option to keep doing that. And I totally see people in that same boat, and that are just like, man, I know I can do this. I know I can do that, but I'm making 150 grand, a year. And like, I don't think I can step out. And I tell them directly, don't. Because if you don't think you can do it, there's no way you can do it. You got to be willing to risk all your savings, every little thing that, every material thing you've stacked around yourself. At any point in time, it can just go up in flames when you own your own business. There's no safety net at all.
None.
The only safety net you have is the people, the friends, and the community that were there from the start. And they'll always be there no matter what happens, that's really what you got to work on building. And in a world of digital wealth and digital everything, you know, that makes me invest even more into the human interaction and person to person, you know, dealings and people, like those connections with people. You know, it's so much more valuable than, you know, 14,000 likes or 100,000 likes on something, you know. It's not going to get you anywhere when the chips fall. Right. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Man. So many gems, man. It's almost you got to sort through it with a comb. Like, this is just like, wow.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to... I mean, there's so much information that we covered.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you can't watch this and decide whether or not you want to leave that corporate office, that cubicle, that safety net.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're nobody if you don't leave it.
No.
We're saying just be smart about your decisions.
I wish people could see, I wish we have that like if we had that ability to really see things for what they are. Because then we would appreciate ourselves more. Yeah. We would appreciate those mundane things that we do every day, and we would see them from a whole other perspective. The problem is like we're marketed to, and we're, you know, literally just in this our own little mind game of who we are and trying to define that, and it really throws people for loops, you know.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with working at a corporate gig, you know, and if there's literally hundreds of thousands of people and thousands of people I know personally that do a great job at it, that love it, that's their gig. It's the small percentage of people who fight with it and struggle with it, you know, that just need that understanding that, like, either you got to accept it and just you know, put in the work. Like with football, like it's not like I liked working out and doing all. There's no way I hated
run
it.
Bleachers and you know,
but if you put in that work, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna provide for your family. You're gonna have, you know, a nicer house. You're gonna have a car. You're gonna have all these things. But if you look around your life and you don't need that car, you don't need that house, and you don't need a safety net, and you don't need, like, you know, you don't have kids or you're not married, and all these things that I had in my life at the time when I looked at this beverage right here, I said, I'm all in, man. Let's go. Let's see what we can do with this. You know, I was already like living in an RV on the street, you know, like what else could I lose at that point? You know, there was really nothing that could go wrong, you know. At that point, you know, the worst thing that could happen is I, you know, go move in with my parents or something. But luckily that's not what happened, and the hard work that I learned throughout my life, I was able to implement it into a product that I finally believed about, because I sold a lot of stuff I didn't believe about, and I could convince people to buy stuff that I knew they shouldn't buy. And that was killing me too. So it was like I finally had something I believe in. Like, man, this culture, the people, this community, this city, like I felt like everything was in the palm of my hand. So it's like time to roll the dice and go, you know. You know, put in that work every day. Wake up and just keep working, man. That's how success is a daily thing. You never reach success, right?
Success is a daily thing.
Yeah, it's like how was I successful today versus, you know, I'm successful.
Right.
You know, it's a different thing. Most people, they try to reach that goal, and if you know, you need to have goals. You need to have markers you got to hit. Otherwise, you're just not going to do it.
Right.
You get lazy or whatever. But yeah.
What's your definition of success?
I think the definition of success, the ultimate definition of success, is being able to look at yourself in the mirror and look at yourself, you know, when you have finally those quiet times with your family, with yourself, with your friends, when you're in those circles, sitting on a couch, maybe having a beer, drinking, kicking back, or a kombucha, you know, and you can say to yourself, this is it, man. This is all I wanted. I'm successful here.
Right.
You know, it's not an award. You know, if you played sports, you know, you get awards and trophies. Those never make you feel good. Right. You know, makes you feel good at the party or something, but, you know, you take it home, you put it up on the shelf, and it just collects dust. Right. And then eventually goes to the, you know, DAV or some thrift store, and some kid makes like a beer trophy out of it for a skate competition or something. But it's really, it's being able to say, like, I'm happy where I'm at. These people, like, everything, no matter how bad it is, no matter how good it is, this is it. This is success right here. And kind of like telling that to yourself. But you you got to keep saying that, you know. It's like the days you wake up and you're like, I'm not successful, I feel worthless, all that stuff. That's when you got to make a change, because it's a, like I said, it's a daily thing. Every day you got to feel that.
I really, what gives me goosebumps is when we first got the keys to the restaurant. A lot of shit talk about, I want to have my own place. And
Yeah.
You can talk all day.
Yeah.
When you finally get the key and you turn that lock, you know whatever happens within these four walls, that's on you.
Exactly.
So it was, the pressure was there, but just having that key in my key ring.
Yeah.
I can close this door anytime I want. I can open it anytime I want.
Anytime you want.
And that to me was, that was the top. I'm done. Like,
and to think that can be a success before you even start cooking.
Right.
You're on the right path.
Yeah.
You know, and like success isn't a marker. It's like a stair. You know, you got to get to the next stair, the next stair, next stair, next stair, and then you just see, like, all of a sudden you're looking down. You're like, how the hell did I get so high?
Right.
You know? Like,
right. Wow. Well, I mean so what we're gonna do? I mean, I've been sipping on these the whole time. I always down my beverages, but anytime I have kombucha, I like to savor it.
Sure.
Because I don't have it that often.
Uh-huh.
So what we're gonna do? We talked about kombucha.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you got here. You're in Oceanside.
Yeah.
You're quasi the mayor. I'm gonna start calling you the mayor.
All right.
I'm gonna start calling you Josh the mayor. I don't care. You can quote me. I said
as long as I don't have to be the mayor, I'm good with it. I don't care.
All the meetings should be held here, drinking kombucha all day. I always do a speed round to everyone I talk to.
All right.
So the speed round is I just say a word.
Okay.
And you just say whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
You should write, a certain amount.
Sure.
All right, cool. Love.
Relationship.
Tea.
Health.
People.
Friends.
Dedication.
Hard work.
Family.
Love.
I like the way you wrap that back around.
Yeah.
Don't try to be slick. I see the way you wrap that back around. And I want you to take your time on this one.
Okay.
Oceanside.
Man. I'm going to say regeneration or regenerated, because we're looking at a regeneration process happening for Oceanside, because my belief is that Oceanside has always been the best part of this coast right here, and it's coming back, man. It's coming back. It went through some dark ages, but sometimes you got to go to that dark side and then spring back, you know?
That's right. I think Rudy was the name of that thing. Well, anyway, that's what I think about. The underdog. I always go for the underdog.
Yeah.
I always
Rudy,
go to the underdog.
Totally.
Well, cool. Let's go ahead and lead them with your
Sure.
contact information, all that good stuff, and then I'll close out, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so it's Living Tea Brewing Company. And again, we are not your average business here, because you can't find this anywhere else besides San Diego and Orange County. So we are on tap exclusively. We haven't hit bottles yet, but of course that's part of the plan with the new place. You can follow us and see how we grow and see how we do, what we do over the next year. Living Tea Brewing Co. Anything at Living Tea Brewing Co. On Facebook and Instagram. We're also known as Living Tea Kombucha or Living Tea. Any of those things, when you Google it, you're going to find us. So the reason we came up with that name, though, is because that's what kombucha is. No matter what happens, if kombucha turns into being called a beer or getting turned in and calling a cider or whatever it is, it's at the end of the day, it's fermented tea. Okay. So it's true kombucha if the ingredients are tea and some type of fermentation.
Okay.
And that's where you'll run into like the beer people that are now calling their stuff kombucha because they're losing market share and they don't like it.
Right.
They're using still malts and things like that grains and that's not tea. That's not kombucha. But what we do is living tea, and that's why we call it Living Tea. Man. Trademark.
I'm about to go run some bleachers, man. I feel kind of hyped up with all this kombucha I've been sipping on. Well, cool. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Such a nice day today. I feel so good today. I mean, oh, you know what? Real quick.
Yeah.
They got rid of the Top Gun house.
Well,
What's
it's
up?
not. They didn't get rid of it.
Okay.
If you
see, I'm asking the mayor, right? You see that? See that? All right. Where's that house at?
If you take a right on South Myers, which
Okay.
is the one-way street that heads north that goes right into that construction zone, you'll see the Top Gun house being staged right now in a parking lot. And what they're going to do is once they finish the giant hotel or whatever, they're going to move it back in front of it, and it's going to be a part of the hotel. So they're going to revamp it. They're going to finally put them. That was actually a part of the deal that they had to make to get that space, as they had to incorporate the Top Gun house. So you'll even notice too, if you drive and you see that build, you can see there's a huge, just like open section at the very front, facing the west, basically, like perfect ocean view. That's where it's going.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there's no way they would have let that happen.
We were just down there, and I'm like, we're walking, we're like, where's the Top Gun house? And we're looking, let's walk down the extra block. We thought it was here, let's walk the extra block. And we're looking around, can't find the house. Yeah. And I'm like, oh,
hanging out in the parking lot.
Cool, okay.
Yeah.
All right, shout out to Tom Cruise and the crew.
Right. And the new Top Gun movie, right? Is that out yet?
I
don't know. Aren't they remaking it?
They're remaking everything these days.
They're probably going to remake it and have it released right when they have that thing back up, so it brings in more revenue.
Don't remake it. Leave it alone. Don't. Let's put the house back. I just want to put the house back. Okay, so this is Al from Let's Get It Podcast, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.